interesting how I met Renaissance movement music. It was at a Nicole C. Mullen concert, and there was this unique group of young people that were opening up for her.
I got to know Nigel because a coworker of mine was one of his teachers. And I kept hearing this buzz around my office about there's this guy who kids really like, and he's a Christian rapper. And I thought, yeah, that's so not my world. But when I finally met Nigel, that was my first contact with Renaissance. He was in my office for probably a minute and a half, and I knew immediately, I so get why people are drawn to this guy, and I get why the kids are drawn to these guys, because what I heard coming out of his mouth was so genuine, and there was, he wasn't selling anything, he was just talking what Christ put on his heart, and it had an impact on me, so I knew why it had an impact on the kids.
I do a lot of travel with my job, and one random Friday afternoon, getting off of an airplane back into town, into Norfolk, and there the crowd of people waiting to get on the plane and head down to Florida was Nigel and his crew, and part of his crew were two young kids that I love very much. Anybody who's taking part and helping along is actually being ministered to, and the dual ministry. It's a little bit like Christ's ministry to the 5,000, but what about that ministry to the 12 that he's doing? And that's very important.
God is using the whole movement for his purpose of impacting our lives with the truth. And God says, sanctify them with truth. What is truth? My word is truth. And this movement, this Renaissance movement is preaching truth.
I have a 10th grade son, and I see the culture that they are drawn to. They're all about, Kanye and Drake and all of these hip hop artists who musically are great, but what they teach is completely the opposite of the way I want to raise my child, what I want his friends to hear. So what I've seen as Renaissance has become more involved with our school is these kids start to attach to these guys who are preaching the gospel to the same kind of music. They're getting that hip hop fix that they want, but they're hearing truth instead of hearing the disrespect and deceit and lies that come from the mainstream hip hop industry.
I will continue to support Renaissance as the Lord enables me, because I recognize many parents are frustrated because they cannot relate to their children. Many children are frustrated because they are being impacted by a plethora of voices. And where is the gospel in all of that? When they're able to hear the Word of God as a means of an outlet for them, and know people who understand their story and their life because they have lived it, it is an opportunity to make a difference in a culture that many people in my generation are disconnected from.
My wife Catherine and I are on the roster of continual givers, monthly givers to the Renaissance movement. It's just humbling to be able to give to a ministry that is doing things that I can't do. I can't stand up and speak to a couple hundred young kids and have the kind of ethos, the kind of voice, the kind of authority that some hip-hop singers, rappers, musicians can have. But what I can do is support it, and that's why we will continue to support it, continue to have a voice behind the voice.
I support Renaissance because, number one, I believe in what you guys are doing. And like I said, when I met Renaissance, I said, if I can use basketball to reach young people with Christ, and he's using music to reach people with Christ, we're on the same team, and that's Team Jesus.